One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about Season 5, Episode 5 of Hulu's The Handmaid's Tale, entitled Fairytale. Before I get started though, real quick, I want to alert you guys to a video I just posted on this channel. I believe, yeah, it was yesterday. Might have been 2 days ago. I don't know. I'm home on paternity leave, so I'm like kind of losing track of the days here. But I posted a video yesterday, I believe, the first episode of One Mic's VOD. I talked about Amazon Prime's Tales from the Loop. The story behind that video post is that if you become a patron on Patreon, you can, if you subscribe at a $5 a month tier or higher, you can make me watch some shit I might not want to watch. No, but it allows you the opportunity to make requests. You can request that I watch the first 2 episodes of a television show. You can request that I watch a full movie. And depending on what tier you subscribe at, should you choose to do so, you can request that I watch the whole season of a show. And then I will put out a video that is for you. Like, I will shout you out in it. I will say, hey, so-and-so made me watch this against my will. I'll talk about the show, whether or not, or movie, whether or not I liked it, disliked it. Same thing I always do. I'll talk about that show, and that'll be something that you can have that is for you. So if you're interested in having something like that, check out the Patreon. There's a link in the episode description, or you could check out the first episode of One Mic's VOD and check out, it's non-spoiler by the way, so if you're interested in Tales from the Loop and whether or not it's something you should watch, you can check out that video without fear of being spoiled as well. So got that out the way. I just wanted to promote that just to give you guys an opportunity to sign up and again, like I said, make me watch something I may not be interested in, but hey, maybe I'll discover something like Tales from the Loop, which I did enjoy. Well, I enjoyed it I've watched the first 3 episodes and I intend on watching the whole thing. So that's an endorsement if nothing else. But, moving on to Handmaid's Tale. I wanted to get that out the way, but this episode is called Fairytale, and I think that's because this episode starts off with a fairy tale for both of our lead women. You know, Luke and June start out, actually Luke and June spend most of the episode in their fairy tale. You know, that things don't go left for them until the very end, but you know, they have several nice moments in this bowling alley with this guardian named Jaden, which by the way, just for those of you who don't watch this show with subtitles on, Jaden was spelled Jaeden, which felt to me like he was like Jaden Targaryen or some shit, like he's from like Handmaid's Tale and Game of Thrones have kind of like bled together, but they end up spending time with this guy Jaden, having a good time. You can even see an increase in the respect that that June is gaining for Luke. You know, we saw it last week, obviously, when she was prompted to have sex with him after he showed some backbone as it pertains to Serena. And then when he volunteers to go over to No Man's Land in this episode, they actually almost to too much of a degree show her looking lovingly at him. I'm like, okay, I get it. But yeah, we see them kind of like living something of a fairy tale before things come crashing down. And then Serena as well. You know, she's found comfort in this Wheeler home. She feels like she's going to be taken good care of. She feels like she's going to be able to live without fear, you know, of protesters or June or whatever. She can do as she sees fit. Get this little Gilead Information Center popping and everything's going to be good to go. And her fairy tale starts to shift too as she, I think, begins to come to the realization that her time in the Wheeler house is going to be a lot less of a welcomed guest and a lot more of a prisoner. So I'm going to start with talking about the A-plot here, which is involving June and Luke. June gets a call that there's a guardian that has information on this wife school that we learned about that Hannah's going to be going to. You remember when June saw the purple dress on TV? She's like, why is it purple? We learned that means that these specific girls are going to go to a wife school where they're essentially going to learn how to be like Serena. We find out from Jaden that this is actually really good. They get treated like princesses. They learn how to run a household. So it's not anything where they're going to be mistreated or anything like that. But she learns that this guy's going to come over with this information about these wife schools. So she's going to head over there and she's going to meet with this guy. She gets there and he doesn't show up. You know, Lily. Yes, Lily. I keep wanting to call her Nina because I believe that's the same actress that played Nina on Orange is the New Black. Not Orange is the New Black. Fucking A. Because I'm thinking of like the 5-ish or so letter acronym, like whatever you talk about Orange is the New Black, you would just put OITNB. And now I'm thinking, when I think of Only Murders in the Building, I think of the omit B that they said in the show. So that's why I had that little confusion there. But, well, I wasn't confused, but that's why I had the slip of the tongue. But just like on omit B, she's Nina on there, so I keep calling her Nina in my head and in my notes, but she's Lily on here. And she says that this Guardian couldn't come because Canada has really hunkered down on their border patrol and making it a lot more difficult for people to move back and forth between this no man's land area and where they're at in Canada. So since this Guardian isn't coming, Luke says, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go over there myself, which I thought was interesting because, like, to me that kind of serves as even more evidence that Luke is just so easily intimidated and influenced by other people as like his way of like making sure that no one doesn't like him. Like, he feels very spineless to me. Like, one of my complaints was his inactivity at the beginning of the show. And it wasn't a complaint against the show, it was a complaint against the character. Like, wow, Luke just ain't gonna do shit. Like, he knows his wife and daughter are alive over there and he's just gonna, like, sit where he's at and just fret. Like, he's not gonna do anything. And then now Serena punked him last week, and now he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go over there too. Like, you only going over there because Serena made you feel like a piece of shit, not because it's something you really wanted to do. But never mind the reason. He wants to go over there. June is very clearly impressed by this. Like, she's like undressing him with her eyes while he's saying that he's gonna go over there. But she says that she's gonna go as well. So they go over and they're told that the code word is beret. So Jaden, the aforementioned Jaden, who we don't know is Jaden yet, he pops out of nowhere with his gun and he's shouting, raspberry, raspberry. And I go immediately, I'm like, raspberry beret. And my wife is like, what the fuck? And I'm like, how do you not get the raspberry beret? I'm not even a Prince fan. And I got the reference. She is like a Prince fan. Her dad is like the biggest Prince fan ever. And I'm like, how did you not get the reference? But they dropped the raspberry beret. And Jaden takes them to this bowling alley where he introduces himself. He takes good care of them. He decides they're going to bowl. Everyone's having a good time, especially Luke. Luke is like, every time I want to like Luke, and I'm very like sympathetic to his plight, but he's such a fucking cornball. Like, he reminds me of the voice that Kevin Hart does when he's talking about like the emasculated, cowardly man, where he's just like, yeah, I do it, sure, okay, whatever you want. No, that's why I'm my way. Yeah, I do it. Okay, it's fine. I got it. He's like that. He keeps like doing, like he like bowls, gets strike. Yep, I did a good job. I got a strike. Yeah, look at me. Yeah, I did a good job. Oh, that's. I didn't mean for that to be that funny. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you liked it. You liked it, right? Like, he's so fucking like. He's so fucking like spineless and just like, I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to like Luke sometimes, man. He's such a fucking cornball. And he starts singing "Let's Stay Together" mediocrely. And I like how Jaden's like, did you write that? He's like, yeah, I wrote it. But I don't know if you could consider this necessarily a flaw of the episode, but a problem that it's weird because it's a problem, but it's not. All of these beautiful scenes that take place in this bowling alley, and when I say beautiful, I mean like visually it looks kind of cool. Like, the bowling alley is like Christmas lights up almost. They got a bar. It's very serene. It seems nice. You know, I like the way it looks visually. But like, as beautiful as this is, with these beautiful moments and the singing and the dancing and the lights, you can't even really appreciate it because of the nature of this show. You're just waiting for the other shoe to come down. Like, you're waiting for the hammer to fall. What's gonna go wrong? How is this gonna go bad? So I can't sit there and be like, wow, this is a really beautiful moment between a husband and wife. I'm just sitting there like, how is this gonna go wrong? Is this a setup? Is Jaden setting them up? Is Jaden being held hostage and he's doing this on someone else's behalf? Like, I'm just sitting there like, mind going a mile a minute, wondering how, like Tyrion on Game of Thrones, how their joy is going to turn to ash in their mouth. That is what I'm wondering about in this moment. And I can't fully appreciate the beauty of that. So like, like, again, that's kind of nitpicky, and it's not necessarily a flaw of the show, but it was something that I took away from that. Like, wow, that would have been a great scene for me to appreciate if I wasn't sitting here wondering how this is gonna go wrong the whole time. But nothing goes wrong, at least in that moment. Jaden presses them to wait until nighttime before they try to head back. He gives them a flash drive of all this. I'm like, what? Why is everything going perfectly? And they decide to leave at nighttime, and he steps on a landmine. He loses that leg because, of course, that's what would happen. He loses that leg, and Guardians come in, and they apprehend June and Luke. And that's the end of that A-plot storyline. I think we can expect things to really turn way the fuck up next week. So looking forward to that. But before I get to the B-plot here, I do want to talk about this one scene. There's a scene where Commander Lawrence and Serena talk on the phone, and Putnam is in the room as well. And they essentially tell her that they're gonna still do, well, let me rewind briefly. She suggests, to Lawrence and Putnam that this Gilead Information Center shouldn't be about Gilead. It should be about fertility, because that's what they're all about, right? Making babies and having babies and making, sure the race can, continue to flourish. The race as in like the human race, not the white race. But I love that moment because to me, that was a good parallel between Serena's naivete and Lydia's. Lydia had the same moment last week, which was my favorite moment, one of my favorite moments of that episode with Lawrence, where she's like, he's like, yeah, these motherfuckers is nasty. They try to get their rocks off. He's like, you know what I'm talking about. And she's like, do I? And he's like, don't you? Like, you know how we get down here. And I love that removal of the veil where everyone's sitting there just pretending that Gilead is something different than it is. Like it has these holier purposes than it really has. And Commander Lawrence is, like, hey, why are we bullshitting each other here? We know what this is about. And so when Serena's like, it should be a fertility, she didn't say clinic, but like a fertility center. And we could teach about birthing and make sure that, babies and prosperity and all this good shit. And I'm sitting there like, good and fucking well, this ain't about no goddamn fertility. And I'm like, and I loved how you can have that same kind of parallel with her and Lydia, both women who are on the, I don't know any other way to call it, but like the safe side of things in Gilead. And so that allowed them to have that naivete. When you're Lydia and you're in charge, or you're Serena and you're a wife, you can put on the blinders and be like, oh yeah, if you're Lydia, I'm doing what's best for these women. I'm setting them up for success. I am doing the Lord's will. You can pretend all day because you're on the good side that what's happening on the bad side is justified. And Serena is doing the same thing, pretending like, because she's on the wife's side, she's on the good side, pretending that this whole Gilead thing is about fertility and about children and all that kind of shit, when really it's about men wanting to fuck underage kids, wanting to make women subservient to them. It's all about men and power and masculinity and all that shit, right? Misogyny, that's what it's about. So for her to be like, oh yeah, I want a fertility clinic, I'm like, man, you stupid fuck. Like, ain't nobody having no fertility clinic, which was interesting because later they did say they were gonna make it into a fertility clinic. But whether it's a fertility clinic or not is beside the point. The point is that Serena and Lydia carry a level of naivete that I think both of them are about. Well, Serena is definitely about to have that taken away from her, and Lydia probably is to a further degree as well. But moving on to the B-plot. The B-plot is Serena. She's at the Wheeler's house. Everything's going smooth. Like, everything seems to be great. She's got meals prepared for her. It's all good. I want to know why this house got so many goddamn floors. Like, you see her at the top of the stairs. I'm like, this shit got like 5 levels. They got an elevator in this bitch. Like, she's supposed to, 8 months pregnant and shit, supposed to go up and down 5 flights of stairs. Like, what? I hope they got an elevator in there. But we're met with several moments throughout Serena's storyline that are meant to show us that Serena is slowly kind of like coming to the realization, or she's shifting from, well, I don't know how much she's realizing about it. I think she's starting to get there, but for us, the audience, we are clearly seeing the shift from Serena being perceived as a wife by Gilead, like the wife of a commander, to someone who's more in line with a handmaid. So I think it's inevitable that is Serena's future, and I love, love, love that direction for this show. Not because Serena's a terrible person and I want bad things to happen to her, which is true. both of those statements are true. But I love this storyline because I love the idea of someone who believes so firmly in what Gilead was doing now being subjected to it. So it's like, okay, if you believe in it, you're willingly gonna do whatever it is that they ask of you if you willingly believe, if you really, really believe in it. But her belief is gonna be put to the test, and we're definitely gonna see that when she's on the wrong side, not the good side, the wife side, when she's on the wrong side of how they treat women in Gilead, I think we're gonna find out that she's not as big of a proponent of her stupid fucking fertility center as she feels that she is right now. But there's a lot of parallels between what Serena is starting to experience and what June experienced when she was there. Serena gets healthy food. I got them numbered. Serena gets healthy food. It looked like a salad. It's like a green smoothie. While Miss Wheeler got like bacon, eggs, and toast. Like she got the good breakfast. Serena got the breakfast that they pulled up out the backyard. Second thing, Serena isn't allowed to leave the premises when that woman outside the gate was there. And she's like, you know, it's all good. I'll just go out there. I'll holler at her. Y'all here. It's fine. They're like, no, no, you're not allowed out the premises. Serena's told the information center is now going to be a fertility center, like I said. But they also tell her that she's not going to be there. She's like, yeah, I'm okay. All right, let's go. I'm ready to go. They're like, we'll take your input, but you stay at home. She gets denied a cell phone. And then when Mr. Wheeler pops up and he's like, yeah, you know what? You need to be taking your I don't know what he said medication, but I mean, I think we're meant to know it's like prenatal vitamins. And he stands there like watches her take the vitamins. I'm like, yeah, you're coming to the realization that this is just like what you did to other people, aren't you? So, yeah, like I said, that's the A plot and the B plot. I thought really good work, really compelling stuff. I'm really excited for episode 6. I think it's going to be a banger. Speaking of episode 6, I will still be doing a video for episode 6, which you will find right here next Wednesday. But also, I don't know when this comes out. I will be on a podcast about The Handmaid's Tale called Resisting Gilead. You can find that wherever you get your podcast. I will be on that podcast following episode 6. So go subscribe to that podcast. If you're a fan of me, if you're a fan of this show, subscribe to the podcast. It's a great fucking podcast. But subscribe to that podcast and you will find me featured on the episode for following episode 6. So a couple of thoughts before I wrap up. The Detroit slander was completely fucking unnecessary. Why are you shitting on my city? Like what? Like I'm sitting here like what? I'm just sitting here casually watching this great show that I plan on covering on my YouTube channel. And now my city is taking all these stray shots for no fucking reason. And they go hard. Like, why would anybody go there? Like, I'm sitting here like, yo, one more sentence, I'm gonna fuck y'all up. And the next sentence is increasingly more insulting. And then Moira goes, yo, man, I'm from Detroit. I'm like, okay, this is out of control. Like, yo, why you shitting on my city? Why is Moira talking about she from, like, nobody from Detroit would go in like that. Like, come on, we love it here, bro. Like, it's not, there's no secret animosity toward Detroit from any Detroiters. You would never catch us out here talking shit like that. But yeah, it was funny though. I'm not actually mad. It was fun. It was wild too. It felt personal. I'm sitting there like, this show is like on Hulu. Like people all over the world watch this, and now they're like so aggressively attacking my city that I'm just, like I said, it felt personal. Whatever though. But we learned that plums is the term that is used for girls like Hannah. These ones wearing plum colors that are going to this wife school. They have a name and they're called plums. When Luke was like lingering on that dead body that was hung that had the sign rapist on it, I'm like, man, he's about to be an anchor for June. Like she's gonna wish that he hadn't come because he ain't built for this. Like he's just gonna hold her down. And he didn't, but I mean, they ain't about to get out no way. So like I feel like he's gonna hold her down while they're in there. Ooh, what if like we didn't see Nick in this episode or the last one? I wonder if Luke and June are now going to be prisoners of Gilead, how Nick is going to factor into that. That should be interesting. I thought the flashback scenes in this episode were really fucking effective. You see Serena and Miss Putnam window shopping for children like they're fucking church hats or Cinnabons. Like, fucking like walking through, literally window shopping for children. Like, you fucking scumbags. and they're talking down the idea of having handmaids, like, oh, I'll never do that shit. And then, then we see the next flashback scene, because we only get the two, is Serena now picking handmaids, like not literally window shopping, but still shopping for handmaids. Like, let's see, which of these women am I gonna have my husband rape today? Like shopping through these manila folders. And Lydia's like, oh, Mr. Waterford loved that one too. And I'm like, oh, she ain't choosing that one. Because I mean, if you think about it, if you're a woman who in the first flashback scene was staunchly opposed to having handmaids in general, why would you then choose a handmaid that your husband's gonna wanna fuck? Like, you're gonna choose the most fugly fucking handmaid that you can find, right? Because you want it to be a business transaction, essentially. And that's not me trying to shade Elizabeth Moss' appearance at all. I'm just saying, if you're someone who is staunchly opposed to having handmaids in the first place, if you at some point reluctantly agree to do it, you're not going to choose the woman that your wife is like, or that your husband is like, oh yeah, I like that one. Like, that's a good one right there. You ain't going to choose that one. You're going to choose the most fugly fucking handmaid that you could choose, because you don't want them to enjoy it, right? Like, if you're a handmaid, if you're a wife, you don't want your husband to enjoy the handmaid. You want, and that's again, if it's really strictly about fertility and procreation and making sure that babies continue to be made, then the husband should feel the same way. Like, it's like, that is literally just a vessel. Like, I have no attraction to her whatsoever. That's how it should be, but that's not what it is. So, of course, the appearance of the handmaid is gonna matter. But I love those scenes, because I thought they were both really effective for making you hate the way Serena approached the child situation at the beginning, to just making you think about what that was like, that time in between from where you're opposed to it to where now you're selecting someone. And I just thought that was really interesting and effective. And then lastly, I think they really, and make no mistakes, I like the way this played out, but I kind of feel like they dropped the ball on not having Mr. Wheeler be Jaden. Because, like, the whole time I'm sitting there like, this Jaden shit don't feel right. Like, this whole bowling alley shit don't feel right. And then when they bring when Mr. Wheeler finally comes in, he's kind of like silhouetted from behind. I'm like, oh, is this somebody we're supposed to know? I'm like, oh shit, if it's Jaden, that would be perfect. Because what did they say? Like, Mrs. Wheeler was like, oh, he's never around because he's always working. And then you have the added intrigue of this person who is helping the rebels also being a commander. And then, like, I would wonder, like, okay, which side is he really on? Is he pretending to be a rebel and he's working for Gilead, or is he actually a rebel and he's pretending to be pro-Gilead and pretending like he's down with all this commander shit? Like, which is it? And I'm like, that would have been perfect to have Mr. Wheeler be Jaden. So, yeah, sucks to see it wasn't him and that Jaden is likely now dead. From blood loss. I don't know, I've cracked a lot of jokes for such a dark episode of this show. But every episode is a dark episode. So, again, great episode. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Again, I implore you to check out the Patreon if you want to make me watch something that you think I might not want to watch, or if you think I do want to watch it. Because I don't want to make Brett Factual is the one who requested that I watch Tales from the Loop. I don't want to imply that he made me watch it because he was trying to torture me. But yeah, if you want to be the next person, I don't even have another one on deck yet. So, like, if you want to be the next person to have a personalized review, sign up for the Patreon. So I will see you guys next week for episode 6. And until then, peace.